Good morning and welcome to our prenatal yoga class. So happy to be here practicing with you and happy that, another day, it's like another opportunity to try again, to do it again, because every day is different, right? Like you wake up some mornings, you have lots of energy, you can just like move mountains. Other days, you're like, I just want to stay in bed. And hopefully you can choose to stay in bed, but if you can't, this can be a way that you can get a little bit more energy and vitality to get you going for the day. And while we were checking in, I was just mentioning that it's my daughter's 8th birthday, and those 8 years have flown by so much faster than I could have even imagined. But yeah, like 8 years ago at 9:34 this evening, I pushed my daughter out into the world after 38 hours of just intensity. Just call it that. It was beautiful, it was magical, it was painful, it was like the most power I have ever felt in my body. Like I felt so primal in that moment and felt so much strength that I didn't even know that I had. And that feeling, and I think this probably maybe is one of the benefits of like motherhood, is like when you have moments like that, like raising a child or birthing a child, recovering from birthing a child, it's like you tap into some resilience that you didn't know you had. You tap into strength you didn't know that you had. You tap into wisdom you didn't know you had. Because certainly I had never birthed a baby before. And so just trusting the process, and my body did. My body birthed a baby. So there's clearly some maternal wisdom, there was some ancestral wisdom, there was divine wisdom, right? There's just like this, the order of things. So just putting that out there to moms who, if this is your first baby, just knowing that you got this, you can do this. Every woman in your family, like in your maternal line, has done this, right? Because you wouldn't be here. For many of us, if you're a Black American who can trace your ancestry to slavery, or if you were in a colonized place where there was slavery, our ancestors gave birth under the most harsh conditions, and we are here. We are here. So just tapping into all of that power and strength and magnificence of who and what we are, and just knowing that that's inside of you. And so it's great. Like, I'm so happy to practice yoga with you. I hope that you're like downloading information, reading books, doing birthing classes, either online or in person. But I also want you to trust your bodies, right? And so this practice is a great way to start to, if you haven't been able to really access what's happening inside yourself, or maybe if you never practiced yoga before, or again, if you've never been pregnant before, just kind of like working with this being that's inside of your body. This can be a way to begin to really cultivate that capacity to listen to your own inner wisdom, your own intuitive guiding wisdom that's inside of yourself. So with that, we will begin. So I have my 2 blocks, my bolster, 4 blankets, and my birthing ball. Again, I introduced that in the last class, and I'll just show a few things that you can do either like on the mat, on a chair, or on a birthing ball in our practice today. So let's begin. So finding a comfortable seat. You can sit with your legs crossed, one ankle in front of the other. You can sit with the blocks between your feet. I always recommend sitting on something, right? So I'm sitting on a blanket to help support my hips. The higher the blankets, the more support for my hips and maybe the weight of the pelvis if you're feeling quite big. And you can even place, blocks under your knees if your knees are up really high and you're sitting like this. So the idea is that you can sit up really tall with ease in your body. Let's just take just a few seconds just to quiet and center ourselves. So lengthening the spine, you can maybe roll the shoulders a couple times up, back, and down. And just allowing yourself to find a place of centeredness, of calmness, of stillness, where we're just observing the body and the breath. And maybe your baby, you can feel your baby moving inside of you. And feel free to place a hand on your belly and a hand on your heart. And knowing that within each and every breath is more strength and more power than you ever knew you had. Recognizing that within each breath, with each heartbeat, you can draw from this strength and this power. Gently joining the hands together in front of the heart, we'll chant the sound of Om 3 times together, just invoking that radiant vibrational energy that is in everything in the universe. Let's exhale generously and inhale generously for Om. Releasing the hands, softly opening the eyes. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in, and then turn your head to the left, just looking over the left shoulder. And then inhale to center and exhale, turn your head to the right. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Once more, inhale, exhale, inhale to center, exhale it all out. Good. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to center and exhale to the left. And just breathe here for a moment. So we're not straining, no forcing, just moving with your body's natural range of motion. And pretend that you could. Anatomically, you can't, but pretend that you could rest your right ear on the center of your chest. So we're just kind of leaning the head in towards the center of the chest, as if the right ear could rest right there on your breastbone. Take a deep breath in, grow your spine a little taller. And then keeping the head in this shape for as long as you can, allow your chin to just draw along the collarbone in towards the center of the chest. And inhale, lift the head to center. Good, let's do that on the other side. So we inhale, grow tall. Turn your head to the right, and we just breathe there, drawing the left shoulder back. And then pretending that you could rest your left ear right on the center of your chest. So we're just kind of taking the neck into rotation and then into like a lateral stretch. Should feel really good. Take one more breath. And as you exhale, just allow your chin to trace along the collarbone in towards the breastbone, head to center, and inhale, lift. Let's do that one more time to each side. So we inhale, grow tall, turn the head to the left, take a breath here. And as you exhale, just gently lower that right ear in towards the center of the chest. Keep opening the shoulders, keep your spine tall. Inhale, one more breath. As you exhale, let the chin trace along the collarbone in towards the center of the chest. And inhale, lift to center. Last time, inhale, grow tall. Exhale, turn your head to the right. Breathe. And then just allowing the left ear to lower in towards the center of the chest. Keep drawing the shoulders open and back. And again, no force, no strain, just letting gravity, the weight of the head, help you lengthen your neck. And then we just gently trace the chin along the collarbone and inhale, lift to center. And hopefully that felt good. Let's inhale, reach the arms out and up. And exhale, release. Do that a few times. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, deep breath out. And this is where we can practice that deep 3-part breath, where we inhale, expand belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly, draw in. One more time. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale from the chest, ribs, belly. Good. Let's inhale and bring those fingertips to rest onto your shoulders. And we'll circle the shoulders up, back, down, up, back, down. And feel free to lower the chin to the chest and lift the chin from the chest. Again, just finding more length in the neck, more relief in any tension that you might feel in the upper back and across the shoulder blades. Good. We'll circle one more time and coming into center and releasing. Good. Bring your hands on top of your knees and let's begin to make some circles in the pelvis. And even here, we can let the head kind of drop in towards center as we rock forward, and then lift the head as you rock back. And so just finding more malleability along the entire spine. So just letting shoulders ease and soften, letting the neck lengthen. And let's reverse and circle in the opposite direction. So just circling, circling, circling. And breathing. Good. And let's come into center, into stillness. Lengthen out your legs. So let's start with knees bent actually. So bring the feet onto the floor. I'm walking my hips off of my blanket. So if you're on a block or cushion, maybe coming off of that now. Bring your hands behind you. Your feet can be open as wide as they need to be to accommodate your growing belly. And then just gently rock, rocking from side to side. So just letting the weight of the legs help you lengthen and open the ribs. Keep your chest lifted and your shoulders on your back. So you get this really beautiful stretch across the chest while you're opening along the sides of the waist. And take a deep breath in and just let the legs lower to one side. Pause here, lift the chest, lift the throat, lift your gaze. Exhale. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale, come into center. Exhale, lower your legs in the opposite direction. Keep pressing the arms down, lifting the chest up. Little space between the chin and chest. Keep the neck long. Be easy with the neck. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. Good. Inhale, come into center. And let's go ahead and lengthen those legs out. And so I always recommend supporting yourself, right? So you're always going to see me in every prenatal yoga class, put blankets under my knees. When I was pregnant 8 years ago, my knees were super stretchy. It was weird. As a yoga teacher, I was pretty flexible already, but my knees were super unstable and I would actually fall a lot. So it's super important that you support yourself, that you protect yourself. And again, your body's making copious amounts of hormones, relaxin being one of them, which relaxes the joints, right? So that you can grow and expand for your baby. So just protect yourself. Even in like just regular yoga classes, I think women just tend to be super hyper flexible. So putting some support under your knees or keeping the knees a little bent is always recommended. So let's point and flex your feet. So we're just warming up the ankles, circling the ankles, warming up the joints, keeping everything fluid and moving. And so once you're kind of circled and you pointed and flex, let your legs kind of rock from side to side. So just gently jostling your legs in the hip socket. And you can let this movement move along the whole leg. So my hip bone, my femur bone is moving, my knee is moving, and my ankle. So everything's just kind of swish-swashing, right? Good. And then let's just come into what feels like a good place to rest. We'll remove those blankets, hands under knees, just to help support the knees coming back into center. And let's come on to hands and knees. So again, you can take a blanket, I highly recommend it, underneath your knees. And making sure you have enough support, but not so much support that it's squishy and then starts to feel unsupportive. You can be on your hands, fingers spread wide. You can bring hands slightly forward if wrists feel sensitive, or you can even be on your fists. So you have options there. So find what feels good to you and then begin to move. So you can move your hips from side to side. Your knees can be open wider than hip width distance apart just to allow for space. And then let's rock forward and back, rock forward and back. And again, just moving the body, moving the energy in the body, and rocking your baby too. Your baby feels this too. So just breathing. And then let's take this forward and back and our side to side and begin to make some circles, circling the hips in one direction. And breathing. Take a deep breath in. Open the mouth. And let's reverse. Inhale. Again, inhale. Good. Let's come into center. Let's take a deep breath in and reach your, let's say, right leg really long behind you. And with the toes curled under, just begin to rock into that right foot. So reaching the heel back and rocking forward. So now just creating some length along the back of that right leg. Breathing deeply. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, turn the big toe side of your right foot down onto the mat. And let's sweep that right arm forward, up, and back, making big arm circles. Inhale. Inhale. Good. Inhale. One more time. Inhale. Good. As inhale, reach that arm up. Breathe here. Maybe you want to reach that arm overhead, turn the palm down to face the floor so you're kind of in a modified extended side angle pose. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. As you exhale, rest your right hand on the earth and slide your right leg to the side. So the right leg is still long, and maybe the ball of the foot's on the floor, maybe the whole foot's on the floor, and begin to rock forward and back again. So that same movement that we were doing when we were on hands and knees, we're now just rocking the pelvis forward and back, forward and back, and breathing. Good. And then coming into center, let's go ahead and ground that left hand and reach and open the right arm to the sky. Nice. Yeah, you got it. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Set that hand down. Let's bend that right knee. We're going to keep the foot out to the side as it was. We just slid the foot in closer to the body and begin to rock your hips side to side. So it's kind of like a half squat. That right leg's in a squat, especially as you bend the knee, bringing the hips closer to the right leg. And so just finding some space in the pelvis, finding some space in the inner thighs. Good. And take one more breath in, one more breath out. Good. And let's come into center, slide that right leg alongside the left, rock your hips from side to side, rock your hips forward and back. And make some hip circles. Circle those hips in one direction and circle those hips in the opposite direction. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Coming into stillness, let's reach that left leg back, toes curled under, and we just begin to rock into that foot. So finding some movement in that left ankle, a little engagement in your abdominal muscles as you hug your belly button in towards your spine. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. Let's turn the, the big toe side of that left foot down onto the mat. And let's sweep that left arm forward, up, and back. Let's do that a few times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale, reach that arm up. Maybe reach the left arm overhead. The palm faces the floor. Getting really long along your left side waist. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. Circle that left hand, bring it down. Sweep your left leg out to the left so the leg is still long. And maybe the sole of the foot is resting on the mat, and just begin to rock in your hips. So we're just rocking forward and back, rocking forward and back, and just feeling into that leg and just noticing what you feel there. And then let's ground that right hand down and reach and open that left arm to the sky. A little space between the chin and chest. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Bring the hand down, bend your left knee. So this is where we're in that half squat. So you just kind of slide the leg in a little closer to you. And we rock in that hip. So now the rocking is side to side and letting you, again, kind of stretch in your inner thigh, inner groin. And just breathing. And coming into center, into stillness. Let's go ahead and bring that left knee back in onto the mat. We rock ourselves forward and back a little bit. You can rock side to side, make some hip circles, and just breathe. Good. And so we're gonna come up into standing. So if you have a block or a chair or a stool or a sofa nearby, we're just gonna come from being on hands and knees to kneeling. Step a foot forward, use your support, step another foot forward, and come up to stand. So you can remove your blanket off to the side. Won't use that for a while. And just coming upright, let's find ourselves in mountain pose, right? So mountain is the foundation for all of our asanas. And sometimes as we are advancing in our pregnancy, it gets really hard to kind of stand still. In fact, don't stand still if it doesn't feel good. But it can be nice to just kind of ground, feel your feet, bring your attention to your feet, even if you can't see your feet anymore because your belly is so big, your feet are there. And just maybe feel yourself rocking a little bit forward and back in your feet. You can rock side to side in your feet. Actively lift your arch. So again, not uncommon as we get bigger, the weight of the body begins to flatten the arches in the feet. So we can actively strengthen our ankles to help support our arches, right? So bring some energy, some intention to those pinky side edges of your feet and really ground down to help lift the inner ankle up, the inner arch up. Good. And so we're just gonna find ourselves in mountain and let's breathe. Let's inhale, reach arms up. Look up. Exhale, release. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale up. And exhale. Good. Go ahead, open those feet wide and find those hip circles. So we are always doing hip circles. Hip circles are always recommended at any point. And you can use your ball. So I got this ball at Target. It was $15. You inflate it, let it sit overnight, deflate it a little bit, and then inflate it to the full amount. So super easy. I did it myself. And you can do hip circles on a ball, and it feels good. It feels really, really good. So at any point, if you just don't have the energy or it doesn't feel good to stand because things are swollen and uncomfortable, get on a ball and do the same movement, right? You can do the same thing as rocking the hips. And then once your baby's here, this is what I did. I remember quite well, right? Even though it was 8 years ago, bouncing my newborn baby because you get tired of shaking, right? You kind of hold and rock, and there's just so much weight and causes a lot of stress and discomfort. I had a lot of back pain in the first weeks and months of like holding my 8-pound, 12-ounce baby in my arms all the time, nursing her, holding her. So you can get onto a ball. You don't have to do the rocking with your arms and hands and back so much. You can use the ball. And it's also really good for postpartum support, right? So you can actually use the ball to help you recover once you've birthed your baby. So coming into center wherever you are, if you're on a birth ball or if you're on your feet, I'm gonna move that over to the side. We'll see if it cooperates or not. So standing tall, let's open the feet wide apart, really, really wide. And so we're gonna turn the toes out and let's just move from side to side. And I'm gonna rest my hands lightly inside of my thighs and just kind of moving. And again, just creating this awareness in my inner thighs, my inner groin, and also the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor we know is not a floor, right? It's like layers of tissue. So it's sheets of muscle and connective tissue that's supporting not only your baby, right, in the uterus and the placenta, but also like your bladder, the other organs of reproduction as well. So just want to think about, if we come into center, we can take a little pulse here. And so what I would like for you to do, and again, I'm kind of not pro-Kegel, I'm not anti-Kegel, but I think Kegels can be overused and you run the risk of straining in a different way, right? So just a light, as you're kind of pulsing, right? This is super light. So when you come up, we're just gonna draw those muscles upward. So it's the same muscles you would use if you were stopping the flow of urine, right? So just a little light lift as you come up. So you're drawing not only the body up, but you're pulling those muscles up as well. We wanna find a balance of strength and suppleness, right? We don't want hardness or tension or strain. We want to be able to feel strong in our bodies, but when we are called to birth our babies, we want to be able to do so with a sense of power, right? And that strength, but also that we can be soft, like this vessel that's just allowing this baby to emerge, right? And even for moms who, you know, if you're planning a vaginal birth and you end up having a cesarean, it's super important, right? You carry the baby. So we still want to build the strength in the abdominals. We still want to maintain that strength in the pelvic floor. So regardless of your birthing journey, is all really important. And also, just like as women, as we get older, I'm 43 now, it's not uncommon for women to experience incontinence, especially after having kids in later life, because those muscles get weak. So this is something that you can do all the time. And I find doing it with like a wide sumo squat or a plie squat, it's a little bit more intuitive, but you don't have to do the squat. You could just be standing and lifting the muscles of the pelvic floor. So we're gonna make this a little bit more dynamic. Let's take a breath. We'll stand up. Walk the feet in. Feel free to drink some water. So we've been moving for a little bit. I'm gonna have my herbal tea. So feel free to drink a little. That's delicious. And then we're gonna come back onto our mats with our feet open wide apart and wide enough that you feel like strong and powerful, but you also feel like you can control this. If you feel wobbly, it's nice to be near a wall or some furniture that won't roll, that will support you. And so my feet are open nice and wide. And so we're going to pair this squat movement up with a little bit of like lion's breath from yoga, right? Samhasana. So Samhasana, typically you do it kneeling and you kind of clench everything and then you, right? You open the hands, you open the mouth, you open the eyes, open the face as big as you can. So again, another great practice, right? When you think about a contraction, everything's tight, 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 and then we release, right? So using that contraction to find release. So let's find our squat. We're gonna come down, take that breath. Tap into your inner lioness. It's in there. 2 more times. And release. Go ahead, bring the feet in a little closer. Let's circle those hips out. Let that all go. Circle in the opposite direction. So one more time with those sumo squats, or those wide plie squats. And this time we're going to pair it with eagle arms. So if you practice yoga, you know Garudasana. So when you're pregnant, we don't do the legs, right? We don't cross the legs like that, but we will open the upper back and shoulders, right? So with Garudasana, you bring your arms and hands in together and elbows together. So that's kind of like the first place where we start. And we'll do this movement a few times. And then after we've warmed up, if it's available to you, you can totally stay with arms pressing in, forearms pressing in, or you can cross an arm over the other. And it's important that I get my arm higher than the crease of my elbow and bend. Maybe you're able to wrap the forearms and your palms touch. And so we'll do this movement a few times as well, and we'll do our squat and we'll make it dynamic, right? So if you had enough of squats, you don't have to do the squats, right? You could stand and do this. You could do it on the birthing ball. And again, just creating a sense of ease in the body, but balancing it with strength. So your feet are open wide. Make sure your toes are turned out. Your knees are gonna move in the same direction as your toes. Try to keep your chest lifted, belly button pulled into the spine. So maintaining really good integrity through your core. Even with the legs wide open, we still find Tadasana, right? So let's find our squat. We open the arms to 90 and then press. Bring the elbows in, inhale, open and straighten the legs. Good, exhale, inhale. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Good, inhale, open the arms. Maybe you're able to wrap your forearms. Nice, good job. Inhale and switch. Find that breath. 1 more time. Good, and come up and release. Let's walk those feet in, do those hip circles again. And so you can do that hip circle on the ball. Again, lots of options. We're also gonna do a figure 7 stretch, and I'll show that on the ball. You can do this on the wall also, or on a piece of furniture. But the idea is that you have your arms and hands supported, and you just walk the feet away from the wall or the ball, creating the number 7 with your body. Open your feet wider than hip width distance apart, and just rock. Move your hips, circle your hips. The nice thing about the ball is that the ball moves with me. So I can create more of a lateral stretch in my side body. So just kind of moving like a wave along my spine as I stretch my hips and stretch across the pelvis. Good. You can make circles with your ball. And again, I highly recommend having one of these, especially for mamas who are going to be at home birthing your baby. I'm sure you're midwives and doulas are telling you all of this, but just a really good reminder. And even if you're planning going to the hospital, this is a good thing to do while you're at home getting ready to go. Once your labor starts, you can do a lot to relieve a lot of that intensity by finding different positions that you can breathe in and ride those waves of energy. So you can roll your ball in towards you. You can walk the feet into the wall. And then just come up to stand. Nice work. So we will end with a squat. I like to try to do squat pose every class because, again, it is like the penultimate birthing position that has been used since the beginning of time to get babies out of women's bodies. So I'm going to recommend that you sit on something. So you can sit on a chair, a stool, a birthing ball, blocks. I'm going to turn my blocks with the large face down and stack them so I have some height. But again, there are contraindications. I just want to repeat those again. Deep vein thrombosis, hemorrhoids, any sort of pubic symphysis pain. So this is where the two halves of the pubic bones come together. Any sort of discomfort in the hips at all. If a doctor has told you that you have a partial closing of the cervix by the placenta previa, don't do squat, right? Lots of things you can do. The half squat that we did, great. You can come down on hands and knees and rock forward and back in your pelvis. So I'm standing in front of my blocks. Feet are open, a little wider than hip width distance apart, toes turned out. And I'm just gonna begin by just bending my knees, bringing my hands into my thighs, and let's just make this really pleasant as we come down. So I'm stretching out my upper back, just kind of rotating a shoulder in, and you can even play a little bit with your cat stretch. So coming into center and rounding the spine, chin to chest, and maybe even finding some activation of your pelvic floor as you round the spine, lift and engage those muscles, and come back into center. Good. So when you are ready, you can begin to make your descent. So we bring the forearms down and we just breathe. And all these places, these are all great places for you to rest in, right? So anything to kind of take some of the edge off of those contractions. You know, you definitely want to have something other than just like sitting down or laying down. And the body will actually call for you to be in positions like this. And so we bend the knees and let the hips softly land on our blocks. Yay, we made it. We can bring the hands together in front of the heart. Nice, bring your elbows to rest inside of the knees and gently press, lightly press inside the knees. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders open. You can walk your feet farther away if you need more support, a little bit more space. And maybe close your eyes here. And just feel your body breathing. Feel your heart beating, maybe your baby moving. But again, just connecting to your own vitality, your own inner wisdom, inner strength. You are strong, you are healthy, you are vitally alive. Pregnancy is not an illness. Pregnancy is not a sickness or a disability or a condition to be managed. You are capable, you are powerful. And so just breathing in, breathing in that life-sustaining, nourishing breath for you and your baby. And taking in one more deep breath. And releasing out one more deep breath. Releasing the hands. You can bow the chin in towards the chest. Again, another great opportunity to lengthen the neck. Find a little bit more release in the upper back and that space between the shoulder blades. Allow the eyes to open softly if they are still closed. And the way we transition from squat back onto hands and knees, there's a couple ways. So mamas who are on the ball, or if you're upright, you come down onto hands and knees. For those of us who are on squat, on our blocks, you can bend one ankle back and then maybe bend the other leg back and then kneel and rock forward. Ta-da! That easy. So I want to give you options to rest, and this time I would like to invite you, again, choose what works for you. This is our 6th class together, so maybe you like side lying, maybe you're still comfortable on your back. If you are on your back, please have something underneath your knees. You can have your bolsters supporting you and you're reclined but still upright, which is great for those who experience heartburn. I had heartburn all the way through my pregnancy, like literally laboring my baby. I was asking for like some antacid because just the fire was just so intense. So if that's you, please stay upright. But I'm also going to recommend that you use something a little different today if you're going to stay upright. So we've done this before, and you can do this with the birthing ball also, have your feet on the birthing ball. But the recommendation is that you have either a wall or a piece of furniture that you can rest in front of. I'm going to set my bolster and my blankets up. So I'm going to create a little support for my hips here. So this is for my hips and legs to rest. So I'm going to get that super close to my furniture. And I will even have an extra blanket maybe for my body if I feel cold, or my head if my neck needs support. And sitting right in front of the wall or sitting right in front of your piece of furniture, I'm going to place my blocks on the mat, and I would probably have the blocks like on the sticky part of the mat so that they don't slide away on the blanket, and then place my bolster behind me like so. Already we're doing great. You can take a blanket and have it at the top for your head, and you can adjust that once you get back there. And then making sure your bolster doesn't move away from you, we hold on to it with our hands, make sure that it's touching the back of the pelvis, make sure it feels secure and stable because blocks do tilt and move. And so just give yourself a little moment. When you lean back, you can adjust your blanket for your head. If you're using one, you can roll it to give yourself a little more of a neck roll support. And then when you are ready, you can bring your legs onto the wall or your sofa or your birthing ball. This feels lovely. Nice. Oh, I love that setup. You look great. Perfect. Yep. And so at any point in time you start to feel tired or this isn't working for you, just, one at a time, bring the feet back down, and maybe you just kind of stay here. You can let the knees kind of open, the feet fall away, and whatever works. But the idea here is that we're going to give ourselves a little relief, right? So if your feet and ankles and lower legs are swelling, This is a way to do an inversion, especially in those later stages of pregnancy where it's no longer comfortable to be on your back lying flat on the floor. You can still have your legs elevated and still rest. And then using any other blankets you need to maybe support arms and hands or to cover your body. Maybe you have an eye pillow you could put across your eyes and rest. And I want to give you plenty of time to rest. So we're actually going to be here today for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So I gave you time to set up and time to rest. So just release control of your breath. Your body is breathing itself. It's breathing perfectly. You don't need to do anything differently. Maybe just allowing the eyes to close is enough. Maybe you gently drift into sleep, and that is what will serve you today. Whatever you need, give yourself permission to enjoy and experience it completely. I will sound the bowl at the end of our 3 minutes, and we'll rest in silence during this time. So beginning to deepen your breath, wiggling arms and legs and fingers and toes, gently rocking the head. For my mamas who are reclining with your legs up, legs come down, we slowly kneel ourselves up and maybe just take a breath, just centering yourselves. If you're side lying or on your back, roll to your left side, and then we all return to a tall upright seat. And again, sitting on whatever support you need, your blanket, your block. And finding that comfortable seat, maybe with legs crossed. Let's bring the hands behind the body and take hold of a wrist with your thumb and index finger, creating a yogic seal, a mudra, just sealing in all of the benefits of today's practice. Gently bow the chin in towards the chest. And maybe just offering that word of prayer, that word of gratitude that you may feel within yourself, just thanking your body, thanking yourself, thankful for life. Then just releasing the hands. We bring the hands in front of us, just out to the sides of the body. And this is where we receive. We ask and we receive. And we expect to receive. So there's the expectation for good health, the expectation for a healthy baby, the expectation for an easeful pregnancy, right? You don't have to experience all of the discomfort and complaints of pregnancy. It can be really beautiful. It can be really wonderful. There's a range and a spectrum of experiences. So even if you are experiencing heartburn and nausea, back pain, maybe within those moments where you're symptom free, just being grateful, being joyous for this body that is so capable of so much, of withstanding, of enduring, of being resilient. And then just embracing for yourself more ease, more relief, more peace. And let's seal that all in, joining the hands together in front of the heart. Bowing the head, chin to chest, just honoring our own inner light, honoring this life that is growing so perfectly inside of us. Gently lift the hands to lightly touch the top of the forehead, and we bow forward to close our practice. Namaste.